Absolutely, Dumi. Now, according to the National Institute of Health, statistics show that many consumers have a reduced ability to digest lactose, the carbohydrate found in cow's milk. It's also not uncommon for lactose deficiency to develop later in life. Here to unpack all the signs and symptoms to look out for is Dr. Nandipa, as she shares how to be lactose-free with Clover Nolac. We also have an exciting competition for you to enter, but we will spill that lactose-free milk on a little later. Now, Dr. Nandipa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Buddy, for having me
It's
again.
it's always so good to touch base with you. But today, I specifically want to focus on being lactose intolerant. So, for people who develop or rather have lactose intolerance and they experience it on an everyday basis, what are some of the symptoms and the range of symptoms that they experience?
I think it's different for each individual and each person. I mean, some people experience nausea and vomiting, and that's it. Other people, they'll experience some gas, being bloated, as well as some diarrhea. So it just varies with different individuals. Okay. And it depends how much lactase you have, the enzyme that actually breaks down the carbohydrate, the sugar that is lactose.
Okay, that helps me understand. But then another question I have to find out, if you're born without a lactose deficiency, can you develop it over time? And what is the most extreme symptom one can experience then?
I think over time, yes, you can, depending on an experience. For example, if you have a disease or an infection, or if you've experienced an injury, you can actually develop lactose intolerance. But it does run through families, so it can be generational. So you find if mom had it, then baby has it. And also there are infants that are born and they don't have enough of that lactase, the actual enzyme, which is also very, very rare in some cases where babies don't have lactase. It's a very rare case.
It seems like here you really do have to see it person by person and experiences differ. So with that being said, how long do people then experience these symptoms for, and how can they find relief?
You know, these symptoms can appear within 2 hours of consuming dairy products, and they can actually last up to 48 hours. So it just depends how much of the lactose you've actually passed through. And if they don't resolve within 48 hours, it's always very, very recommended that you contact your healthcare provider. They shouldn't last longer than that, because that should be out of your system. The actual milk and the carbohydrate should be out of your system by then.
Okay.
So it all depends. It can last up to 30 minutes. It can get resolved. But if you take away what is actually causing, you know, it should resolve the discomfort, exactly. Yeah.
Well, doctor, okay, so I think a lot of South Africans right now can identify with everything that you're saying. They're like, tick, that's me, that symptom, that sign, I experienced that. But on a practical level, doc, you know, I'm all about the practicality. When we then turn our attention to our diet and what we put into our body, how then can we try overcome lactose?
I think you need to, like, as you're saying, take in consideration your diet and what's causing you to have these lactose, you know, symptoms. So currently we're so excited that Clover has lactose-free products, and there's a whole range that they've developed, especially for people like me. I grew up experiencing these lactose intolerant symptoms, which are very, very uncomfortable, and also trying to find the nutrients and the calcium and the vitamins. And Clover has taken into consideration the lack thereof of these nutrients if you are lactose intolerant and you're not getting enough of these added vitamins as well as nutrients. So making sure that you modify your diet and looking for products that actually are lactose free, which you can readily find easily now. I think back in the days when I was growing up, you couldn't find anything. I could only take calcium tablets. Yeah.
That's so true. You know, a lot of people now that I speak to that have lactose intolerance, whether it's in family or friends, I'm lucky to be lactose free, although I do love myself some Clover Nolac, mind you, you know, but when I do have to incorporate them into my household and have them in mind when I'm cooking, I always have to turn to something that I trust, something that I know has been developed with the family in mind, and that's everything that has to do with Clover Nolac. But lastly, Doc, before we let you go, what are some of the best best signs and symptoms, firstly, to look out for if people do have lactose intolerance? And more than ever, what are the top tips, I think, that you can give as a medical professional in this field?
I think definitely look out for some nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, straight after consuming any dairy products. So dairy should be your key indicator, as the carbohydrate is found in milk. So, and also making sure, for example, as we spoke about it earlier, it affects people in varying degrees. Therefore, if you eat things that are a little bit hard, that have less lactose, like for example, your hard cheese, some of the yogurts, make sure that it doesn't have too much lactose for it to actually stimulate your gut and also cause this discomfort and these symptoms.
I think that what's key here, and a lot of people always say it, you got to pay attention to what you put in your body, because essentially your body will let you know, is it for you or is it not for you? But I'm so glad that we've got something that covers all the bases in Clover Nolac. Thank you so much, Dr. Nandipa, for joining us. And please give those two little ones a kiss and a hug for me.
Thank you so much for having me.
Now remember to look out for the new Nolac lactose-free milk, mass and dairy range, and hashtag Be Free Lactose Free. Now to get to that competition and how you can stand a chance to win an instant cash prize and hamper. Simply comment on the Afternoon Express Nolac post with which lactose symptom you are most challenged with. Then we could be calling you next week live on the show to free you from your symptoms and win an instant prize. Terms and conditions do apply and can be found on afternoonexpress.co.za. So get entering. Thank you again, Dr. Nandipa. But South Africa, you do not move a muscle. Don't go anywhere, because we have some more incredible Wellness Wednesday for you coming up.